Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for watching. And in this rather daft video I'm going to talk about value for money in Warhammer 40,000, which is a strange topic in itself because really is anything in Warhammer 40,000 good value for money? And it's going to be especially silly as I'm going to have that chat whilst looking at this, my Forge World Reaver Titan, which is very close to being £1,000 US. That's about $1,200, I think. Now this is work in progress, and the reason I want to have this chat is every time I show the Titan, somebody somewhere will comment, I can't believe how much they cost, it's ridiculous, etc. And let's be honest, they're entirely right. These things are very expensive. This came to about £875. In this case, with the weapons fit, you can make them more expensive. And then when you look at the fact that I'm on the work in progress base, I've got a miasmic lignifier on there, so that adds another sort of £60. Yes, very expensive, clearly not worth it, problem solved. However, I'm preparing for a 2,000 point tournament in the new year, and I worked out a 2,000 point army list and then ran the cost through my head, and it actually came to more than this Reaver Titan, which made me think, well, maybe they're not such bad value after all. Now that was Death Guard, that was a heavily converted army, so, you know, maybe that was a little unfair. So I've taken a selection of models at random from my cabinet, and let's just talk about the value for money in these models. Now, starting off, let's look at this Reaver Titan. So it is £875, which is very expensive, but let's look at the stats behind that. So the big boy Reaver, if we look at those stats, that works out £875 for 2,200 points. So simple maths means that that's 2.5 points per pound. That doesn't sound too bad, or does it? Now let's get in closer to some of these other models that I've taken as a selection, and we'll see if this is a good value, very expensive model, or just a very expensive, cool model. So let's get into some of these smaller models and try and justify how much money I've spent on that Titan. So let's start off with the Termagant, the kind of mainstay foot trooper of the Tyranid army, in my case in particular, quite a lot of these in the Force. Now, this Termagant comes in a unit of 10 for 60 points, so he is a mighty 6 points per model. Now, by himself, if you work out the cost of buying the box, he's £2.75, which puts him at 2.18 points per pound. Categoric proof that the Reaver Titan is fantastic value, and that's what we should all go out and buy. Now obviously not, because this is quite a cheap foot trooper, so let's move on to another cheap foot trooper. You can see what I'm doing here, trying to justify my Titan purchase and obsession. This guy, a Poxwalker. Now I don't use Poxwalkers in my Death Guard army yet. I do have a lot of them on sprue, ready to do and paint. This was a test I did a while ago, a bit of a slap chop type paint scheme. Now the Poxwalker, he comes in his box of 10. And a box 10 or unit 10 is 50 points, so he is a 5 point model. We're going cheaper than the Termagant. We're really setting the bar high here. So at that points cost and what you pay for the box, he is £2.25 by himself. So a little bit cheaper than Termagant, a little bit cheaper costs. But that works out to 2.22 points per pound. Further proof that the Reaver Titan is in fact the cheapest way of doing yourself an army. Okay, let's move on from this because this is clearly going to start going wrong. We're going to talk about now a Sister of Battle. We think, excellent. Sister of Battle, fairly cheap. I was thinking, let's pull that out here. Now this is actually a Sister of Nurgle. This is something I did for the channel a couple of years ago. I do have a video on the channel for these. Not a very good one because it was done a long time ago, but I like the model, I like the conversion, and someday I might come back to doing more than just a small unit of them. But anyway, let's talk about a normal Sister of Battle, because clearly the Sister of Nurgle has been converted and it will not work out as good value. Sister of Battle, 100 points for a 10 strong squad, £3.75 for one model. That works out to 2.6 points per pound. Oh no, it's going horribly wrong. Oh dear, so slightly more than the Titan, but about on the same page. So, you know, it's not too far off. Let's not worry about that. A couple of models on the table. Let's talk about the Heavy Intercessor. And this is for my Fists of Caliban, or Caliban's Fists, my kind of custom chapter that I kind of still not quite decided on their full background. Very strange green and yellow colour scheme. Now this Heavy Intercessor, his unit rocks in at 105 points, which means on his own, 5 strong unit, he's 21 points. And this model costs £8 by itself, which is bonkers. And again, let's not go into discussion of whether the 40k is worth it, because if it was worth it, yeah, it's probably not really. But hobbies are hobbies, and they're expensive, and we do it because we love it. So let's keep justifying that to ourselves. Now at that price, he also comes in at 2.6 points per pound. Amazing. So the same value as a Sister of Battle. So all of you that put down Sisters of Battle and say, they're not as good as Space Marines, well, in value terms, to this heavy intercessor, they absolutely are. Now, let's talk about the last thing on the table. Here we have an Invicta Tactical Warsuit. So again, done their little diorama on the thing. And this is where it goes horribly wrong for me, because with these ones here at 2.6, it's basically the same as the Titan at 2.5. But when you start adding in heavy armour, the Tactical Warsuit at 150 points, it's about £42.50 to buy brand new. So again, not exactly cheap, but that works out at a rather astonishing 3.52 points per pound. Yes, so what have we learned from that? Well, you should just do 2,000 points of Invicta Tactical Warsuits and you'll have a great value army and you'll have a lot of fun. No, categorically doesn't mean that. But just a bit of an interesting math hammer here. I want to talk about one final thing that I forgot to put on the table, but it's up the side here. The mighty Plague Marine. Now, I am a Death Guard fanboy. Biggest army at the moment is my Death Guard. And this is actually a variant Death Guard colour scheme I did, but it was what was in the cabinet in front of me. So what does a Plague Marine come in at? That's what I'm excited to know. Now these come in units of 7, the proper size for a unit. At that, this single Plague Marine works out at 15.7 points for himself, and he's £5 to buy. So already much better value than the disgraceful Emperor's Lapdogs. We don't want to buy these more, do we? No, we want the glorious Death Guard, which means he comes in at a quite impressive, considering he's a foot trooper, 3.14 points per pound. Absolutely destroying the points per pound value of the Emperor's Lapdog or the fake Sister of Battle. So again, what have we learned? What we've learned is you should do Death Guard. Look at that, 3.1 points per pound. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I suppose in answer to the question, is a Reaver Titan the best value model in 40k? No, it's not. It is much better value than doing an army of Termagants, but who in the right mind would do an army of Termagants? If there is one of you out there doing that, let me know, because I would love to see that. Yes, so there we are. That's my Reaver Titan. It is still work in progress. I promise you, it is still being worked on. It will appear on the channel soon, but that was just a bit of fun maths exercise to try and justify my Titan. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed that. Go out and buy Death Guard. They are amazing. Speak to you soon.